My mum and my dad, they always used to give my sister, my brother and I words of advice. And as teenagers, most of them we are certain that they made up. And almost all of them we didn't want to hear anyway. But there was one that they just kept throwing at us all the time. It just kept coming up, always at the times we really didn't want to hear it. And it was, life is all about choices and living with the choices that we make. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I learnt my parents were pretty wise people. And it was during my teenage life that I had my eyes firmly set on two things. One was to become a TV journalist, and the other was to represent Australia at the Olympics in hockey. Both seemed pretty achievable for me. And it was during that time that I guess every story I told, every book I read, and every dream I dreamt was all around the pursuit of these two things: becoming a journalist and wearing the green and gold. But at 17 I learnt you can't always plan life. It was August 18th, 1996, and it was a really sort of cold winter's night down at the hockey fields in Newcastle in New South Wales. And we were playing our arch rivals. And the game at this point was even. It was one apiece. And a goal at this stage of the game was to mean that we were to lose. And that was not going to happen on my watch, right? So I was there and I was marking the pole. I was marking the post. And it was a short corner was called. And I looked over and I saw the forward hit the ball out with such precision and with accuracy. The opposing forward stopped the ball. And as she turned and lifted the ball, she hit the ball with the intent to score. And the last thing that I can remember was falling to the ground. It was over the next couple of hours that my life was to hang in balance. Now, everyone seemed to scurry around me, and everyone was talking over the top of me, but no one was talking to me. And I can remember I was calmly sleeping in my bed, and I was awakened by this really, quite handsome, by the way, very tanned man, and he was wearing very crisp white clothes, and he was moving towards me. And it was really odd. It was very, very strange because he was actually standing in a car park and there was a group of people behind him and they were unfamiliar faces sort of chattering amongst themselves. And he started to walk towards me and I started to get uncomfortable. But he had this beautiful warm smile and he stretched his hand out to me and he said, "Come on, Ange, come with me." And with my calm stubbornness, I said, "I'm sorry, I'm not ready. It's not my turn." And his hand stayed. And I closed my eyes so tightly, and as I opened them, there sitting on the left of me was my mum and my dad. And my mum had this white-knuckled grip on my hand, and she had tears rolling down her cheeks. My dad was standing behind her with his with his hand on her shoulder, and he had his head looking towards the ground. And I looked at both of them, and I said, "Mum and Dad, I just had the strangest dream." And they both cried uncontrollably. It was in that moment that I had made a life-changing choice. And it was within the next 24 hours I was to undergo surgery to lift my skull that was putting pressure on my brain. The hockey ball had fractured my skull and a whole range of other injuries. But you know what, it wasn't all that bad because my neurosurgeon looked exactly like George Clooney. And I got to see him about 4 times a day, so there's always a positive to everything. And it was during my recovery that I was given the gift of a book. And the book was by Janine Shepherd called Never Tell Me Never. And Janine, well, she too, she was an amazing athlete. She had her eyes firmly set on going to the Winter Olympics. And she was going on a training ride up through the mountains on her bike when she was hit by a truck. And at the site, she sustained such horrific and extensive injuries that she was told, and her parents were told, if by some chance and some miracle she was to survive, she would most certainly never walk. And so Janine recalls looking out the window and she saw a plane flying overhead. And she said that she decided in that moment that if she couldn't walk, then she would fly. And fly she did. She went on to become a pilot, a commercial pilot, an aerobatics pilot, an instructor in all of these. She did walk. She became a mum, an author, and a speaker who inspires thousands of people every single day. Janine too had made a life-changing choice. Now, it was the gift of Janine's book, right, and her story that showed me we can't always choose the path that we're given in life. But one thing we can always choose is the direction this path will take us. You know, I've got to show you this photo, and it is me, by the way. On that side, a much younger version of me, cheeky. After writing a letter to Janine to tell her about the effect she had on my recovery and, of course, the direction my life would take me, I wrote a letter to her thanking her. And this is me meeting Janine on Channel 9's The Set of This Is Your Life as a surprise guest. This is pretty cool. I've just got to put it up there. You know, I guess the injury did change my path. Of course it did. And one thing it did change was my career path. You know, I didn't go on to become a TV journalist, although I like to be on TV still. And I also didn't go on to wear the green and gold. Instead, I chose to become an occupational therapist. And as an occupational therapist, I get to witness every single day the challenges that are thrown at people. And I also get to witness every single day that people get to make a choice. They get to make the choice of, will today be one where I'm passionate and where my life will be full of purpose and meaning? I've got to share with you a love of mine, a really deep love of mine. I love peacocks. I do. I really love peacocks. And I believe as a human species, we have a lot that we can learn from the mating habits of these horny little feisty creatures. Now, anyone who is an expert in peacocks, I'm going to apologise in advance for the accuracy of my story, but also the really poor acting that I'm about to do. This is a female peacock. She's pretty dull, she's pretty colourless, you know, she's a bit boring, right? But this is a male peacock. He seriously has it all going on, right? He's got this beautiful blue teal colour in the front. He's got this funky little hairdo on top. And he's got this amazing tail that sort of just floats behind him when he walks. He seriously, hasn't he? He's got it all going on. The poor female, when this male's starting to feel a little bit randy, right? He's getting a little bit horny. He goes up to the female peacock, right? He sidles up to her and he just looks at her. And just as she's starting to go weak at the knees, bam! He pulls out this amazing tail. And just like that's not enough, hey? That's not enough for him. She's like, man, he's awesome. He starts to do this little jiggle. And this little turnaround, just to make sure she truly knows how awesome he is. But you know what? The cheeky bugger doesn't just do this to one female. He goes and does it to as many females as he likes, just to make sure he's spreading his awesome vibe. I do believe as a human species, we have a lot that we can learn about the mating habits of the peacocks, about how we can use our inner strengths to have a positive impact on those around us. You know, as I go about my daily life, I just see so many people sort of going through the motions, almost robotic-like. You go into public places and you see people with headphones. They're looking down, so disconnected from what's going on around them. When I walk into shops, I want to almost poke the person behind the counter just to make sure that they're actually not a robot, or just ask an outwardly there question just to make sure the person on the other end of the phone isn't a recording. People are starting to channel this robotic-like behaviour. I want to put a stop to this, and I want us to put a stop to this. Have you noticed how a waiter who smiles at you now has outstanding customer service? Or the friendly passerby says, "Good morning," sort of catches us off guard, and we become suspicious. Guys, why are we choosing to be like this? Why are we choosing dull and robotic and not vibrant? Now, I don't know, maybe it's because we don't feel that we have a choice. Or maybe it is that we're not prepared to take personal responsibility to change. Or maybe it is that we haven't been shown a different path. Life's gotten busy, right? Yeah, super busy. And as a businesswoman and a mum of 2 little kids, I get the challenges that life throws at us, and I get how busy life is. But a recent study called The Race Against Time concluded that it's actually not a matter of lack of time that's causing the busyness of life. It's a matter of trying to cram so much into our day and trying to be everything to everybody. And as a result, we're becoming more disconnected, more unhappy, and more unfulfilled than ever before. Depression rates have increased by the factor of 10 over the last 50 years. It seems this search for this perfect balance is actually leaving us more unhappy than ever before. And I do truly believe that it's this search for balance in our lives that is leaving us more unfulfilled, more disconnected, and more unhappy than ever before. Now, there are plenty of things in life that distract us, right? You know, think health, money, technology, family, and even life-changing decisions. But I believe a life-changing decision that we can all make every single day is how we use our time. Will today be one where I'm going to be dull? Or will today be one where I'm going to be vibrant? I love the word vibrant. Now, I talk about it all the time. The word vibrant means to move to and fro, to radiate positive energy, and to be full of life. So, another way of looking at it is what energy you give out, you get back. So, negative energy out, negative energy back. Positive energy out, positive energy back. Stressed, tired, regretful out. Stressed, tired, regretful back. Yet, positive, optimistic, hopeful out. Positive, optimistic, hopeful back. What is it that we will choose? You know, life, we can choose to be vibrant. It doesn't matter at what stage in life we're at. And it doesn't matter what challenges are thrown at us. Now, I look at my parents, their social life leaves mine for dead. There's so much for them for this, what is it, the empty nest syndrome? They certainly haven't gotten to that stage yet. Yet we've been gone a long time. You know, how do we, though, challenge this inner vibrant peacock that lies within us all? When there's so much busyness and there's so many things that distract us in life, how do we do it? And I see that through 3 ways. It's through being passionate, through knowing where you're heading and why we're heading there, and through surrounding yourself with amazing people. So to be passionate is to be connected with the thing that lights you up, what brings you to your feet, what pulls your shoulders back and what widens your eyes, and what makes you feel alive in the very pit of your stomach. Being passionate is like having your hand on a dimmer switch. At times it's off, sometimes it's in the middle, and sometimes it is burning brightly. The great news is we always have our hand on that dimmer switch. We can always change the settings. The second way to be vibrant is to have a purpose and know where you're heading. This is to have dreams, goals, visions, plans. But there's one missing piece. None of this means anything if we don't take action on them. Now, you think of New Year's resolutions. At the beginning of the year, we have dreams, we have goals, we have plans about what our year looks like. But until we continually step up every single day and put these plans into action, this year will be like last year and will be like the year before. The third way that we can be vibrant amongst all this business is to surround ourselves with people who light us up. Who challenge you, who inspires you, who makes you feel alive, and who can help you bring out your strengths even when you don't think you have any. And Ted's a perfect example of this. People who are willing to be challenged, willing to be inspired, and willing to see what else is possible. So it's a case of one in, all in. Okay, without passion, without having purpose, and without having fantastic people around you, as a society, we will be going through the motions and we will be doing this alone. But it doesn't have to be like this. And in fact, I'm going to make sure it's not like this. And I want us to make sure it's not going to be like this. At 17, I was given the gift of a second chance that would change my path. And I was given the gift of a book that would change the direction this path would take me. And I am so glad that I made that choice. So, my gift to you today is this. You all have the gifts and the strengths within you to lead a positive and a vibrant life. But as my parents taught me, make the choice today. Make the choice today to find your inner strengths. Find what it is that lights you up. Have goals and take action on them, and surround yourself with amazing people. And make the choice today to continually reveal to those people around you your true, amazing colours. Thank you.